sound, gang?
Your sound is fine.
Sound is perfect. Brilliant. Yeah. So welcome, ladies. Welcome to this Royal News Live here on the Sunday. Yes.
Hold on. I'm
Sunday
sorry. Hold on
evening.
1 second, guys. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because let me take the sound off my tablet. Shoot. Sorry. Hold on. There we
Take
go.
this.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you all
Okay.
good now?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I've got mine here. I've made sure to try and keep it in silent. Yeah. Yeah, Catherine, you okay there? Yeah?
There she is.
Here we go. Yeah. Is it fine in landscape or you prefer the way it is now? I think it's fine here.
It's fine.
It's fine, yeah. So welcome to this Royal News Live.
Welcome.
Sunday evening here in the UK. Quite late. It's about 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Just gone past. Yeah. But I suppose it's very early morning where you are, Catherine, in Australia. And it should be.
The weather's good.
Yeah,
but it's just the connection, and I've got these in. The sound is better now. I'm sorry about these technicalities. Anyway, I'm here.
It happens all the time. Yes,
Yeah.
we are all here.
Yeah.
And welcome to this live. Aspi, our dear friend, all in New York, as you speak right now. What time is it in New York?
It is, let's see, 5:06
5 or 6, yeah.
p.m.
PM, yeah. And then Catherine, it's just gone very early morning, isn't it?
7:06. Yeah.
Okay.
I woke up late today, but that's good though, because we're all rested. But yeah, it's 7:06 here, so we're 2 hours. Well, it's not behind, but there's a 2-hour difference. But it's 12 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, don't listen to me.
I know. How surprising. We're all on the same universe, but at different time zones.
Yes.
and that's why organizing lives like this can be challenging, because we are trying to find what time works well for all of us, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But here we are. Royal News. Oh my goodness.
Royal News.
What has been going on in our Royals world?
A lot.
I don't even know where to start from. But I suppose we can start from the recent show up for the royal family at the Easter service in Windsor.
Yeah.
Did you follow up on the arrivals and departures at the?
They have I forgot. I think it's one of the royal channels have like a live webcam.
Okay.
So I got to see it, like them going in the church and them leaving.
Yeah. I think that's the royal family channel, not the actual royal family. Channel, but there is a royal family channel.
Yes.
Which many people think it's the official, but it's not. But they have some good partnerships with ITN and Reuters, and so they have access to all of these events every time they happen, and then they go and stream them live. I don't know how they gained that access. I'm trying very much to get some contacts. And access those events and go live as well, but it's always very difficult. There is a lot of politics involved behind the scenes, and a lot of completing of paperwork and vetting, and then
really?
Yeah, that process could take.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's very difficult. It could take somebody to go through 6 months.
Well,
plus.
do you have to go through security clearance also?
Security clearance, and you also have to go through the royal family press. There's the press office of the royal family, and they look at you, and they also look at the following you have, a bit of your history, and they also want to make sure that you have the right gadgets and equipment, and because they don't want to be streaming these events and halfway down the line your equipments break down and
I see. Okay.
So but the royal family channel, I think, have themselves. They've been doing it for quite some time, but they bring these events to us, and how fantastic it was to see William and Catherine and the children going to
They're
church.
growing so fast.
They
The
are.
kids.
Oh my goodness! Did you see Joe? Joe almost
He's like
towered.
as tall as his mom.
Oh, these kids are going to be very tall.
Yes.
Charlotte. We saw her recently being presented to us, by Catherine, as a newborn. And today, to see her towering nearly over her mom is very surprising how kids grow very fast.
They're going to be tall kids.
Yeah, yeah. But their show up is great for us because it helps us check in how the
Yeah.
kids are, how they are growing. We stay
Yeah.
up to date with their well-being. These are kids who are in the line of succession. So
Yeah.
we're following up on their everyday life and seeing them grow to maybe that time when it comes to becoming working royals, it would be nice to have a bit of that great history
Because
of
George is 12, I believe. He's 12.
yes, yeah, he is 12, and Louis is I think just 8. I mean, getting to 8 years, Louis. And Charlotte obviously is the middle child girl there who is
So
going
George is going to be 13, I think, this year, right?
George, yes, yes. And how they
He'll be a
grow
teen.
fast, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's nice to see them. They look
It's,
really lovely.
and it's the bond they have with their parents. You
Yeah.
can always tell kids who are very close to their parents by how stingy they are with out and about with their parents. George is literally always within millimeters away from from the dad, and Charlotte in the mix. Louis can't let go of his dad. So that relationship is very telling of a family that is very loving to these kids.
I think it's a great balance they have. They go out like for special occasions, but they're not overexposed.
No.
It's
And
only special occasions right now.
yeah, the only time we get to see them is, when there are events like, Easter,
Yeah.
Christmas, those
Yeah.
walkabouts, and then we see them on the King's birthday parade riding with their mom, in the horse carriage. So those events are ones that we all hold on to because that's when we see these kids. And it's brilliant how they dress up, how they behave professionally out, and how they handle the pressure of being at the center of all these big cameras and
Yeah.
people chanting. I think they really, really, Catherine and William have done a good job. Yeah,
Definitely.
mm. What was the mood like in Australia, Catherine? When the royal family showed up for the Easter?
I, I don't necessarily follow Sky News per se, but I do follow their royal commentary, and it's always positive and favourable. And what I sensed here in Australia is how much everyone's looking forward to the prospect of the whales coming to Australia later in the year. And it hasn't been confirmed yet. My understanding is that it may be during the holidays, so that they're going to plan it around the holidays so the children can join them and come to Australia with them, which would be a huge power move to bring their children to Australia. That will be 2 royal visits this year because we've had King Frederick and Queen Mary here recently, which was a hit because Australia owns, we embrace Mary, we own Mary. So that royal tour, in terms of the royal reception that they received, was really positive. So I'm expecting it to be much the same for the Wales. The thing that bothers me is this backlash from the Sussex tour this week, because there's a little bit more to the backlash than international news is reporting on. We've got a grade 2 fuel shortage here in Australia. We're
Really?
the government's telling us to stop driving our cars, work from home. and it feels like another lockdown's coming, you know.
Oh no.
Yeah, and the problem is, you know, the Sussexes, they're so they've got no class, they're out of touch, and they're so insistent on their own agenda. They can't hear the public mood because that petition, the last I looked, it had about 45,000 signatures, which is
Oh,
huge.
that
Yeah,
is
yeah,
That's
that's
really
huge.
huge.
that is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, the price of petrol, the fuel at the pump it's skyrocketed. It's double a
You know,
litre what it normally
Catherine, I don't mean
is.
to interrupt you, but usually with my car, 35 used to be 35 US dollars to fill it
Yeah,
up. Now it's like $55.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
Well,
it's gotten bad
we
here
were
too.
already there. We were already there as well. So
It's
now
the
you've got
same
the
here.
It's bad.
fuel shortage. It's
Yeah,
actually escalated even
Hmm.
further, and the
yeah.
government has removed some excise. But you probably didn't want to get into the Sussexes so soon. But the point I'm making is, it's not, the monarchy's not losing support in Australia. This is where I'm going with this conversation, because they're still going to have police detail, which means that their resources are being taken away from the locals. That's the problem.
Hmm.
So what's happening in Australia, what I sense is, it's not that there's a loss of support for the monarchy, but there isn't automatic deference anymore. You know, everything is questioned, everything is examined. The Republican movement are not very strong here, a little bit like Britain, Francis. But I'm hoping that the level 2 fuel grade will have been lifted by the time the whales come. But the monarchy really need to be listening to this, because we're really struggling here. We're, you know, and it's a bit like, you know, other parts of the Western world. Public housing is going to immigrants, you know, and our housing, our homeless of the local population is on the increase. Everywhere you go, you see an increase in homelessness. So that's where I'm going, is the public mood in Australia at the moment is not good for, I mean, the Danish royals just missed it, you know, so everything was kumbaya, you know. What I will say about William and Catherine is they're really in touch with the public mood, because he listens through social media. He's got his ear on social media. But if they bring their children, what a power move.
Of
The
course, and
Sussex
they
will
can't.
never be able to match that.
Of course, and I don't think William and Catherine would even travel in such bad
No.
economic times. You know, the war that is going on in the Middle East.
Yeah. Yeah.
Today we heard that the US representatives, you know, walked out of, you know, Islamabad with no actual solution. And so this is telling that this could go on for some time. So we are going to be seeing these prices skyrocketing. But even that
Yes.
did not bother the Sussexes. They still want to go ahead with this trip. And we have just heard that nearly half of this trip is going to be funded by taxpayers.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. It's
That's
very.
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. And the problem is, you know, they're so out of touch. I mean, look at what's just happened recently with the announcement, or you know, the news release of Sentebale being taken to court.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know, like the optics of this are so bad, you know, and they can't hear anything. And when they responded to, because the hub of the petition is, come if you want to, but you are not having we will not agree to taxpayer-funded security. That is what the petition is. The petition isn't saying don't come. The petition is saying, well, yeah, if you want to, but yeah, we're not paying for your security. Simple. And that's why the optics are so bad. And now Harry's charity, which is Diana's legacy, which William must be seething over this, he's now being taken to court. And I'll tell you, I heard someone say, or I read a tweet actually, someone saying she doesn't think it will go to court. They'll settle. I don't think that Sentebale are going to settle that easy because they're being independently funded.
They are being independently funded now.
Yes.
This case is not funded through donations or within Sentebale itself. It's someone from the outside that is actually looking at furthering this case. Because if they had left it down to Sentebale itself to be funded somehow, because Harry and all of these that is being taken to court with would somehow still sabotage these proceedings. So they've taken things, I think, out of Sentabale's hands, and someone from the outside says, I'm ready to inject as much money as I can to get these things resolved, because we don't want to see this charity, which is actually helping very many young men and women, children in Southern Africa, collapse. Okay.
But so I'm sorry, going back to Catherine with, being out of touch with the police protection stuff. It happened in New York when they visited New York. Unfortunately, I think they will get the protection. You know why? Because they don't want to be held responsible if, quote unquote, God forbid, something would happen. That's their mentality. So what happened to New York? People in New York actually phoned. It's called 311 when you have a complaint. There were so many complaints. I actually called 311 to complain. Taxpayer money being used to give security. It's gonna get done. I hate saying that, but it's gonna. I think it's gonna happen. That's how I see it.
The only people that need protecting are the public from the Sussexes. That's my opinion. I remember that New York trip really well. And it was so staged. It was so obvious what was going on. I mean, the New York locals were laughing about
we were,
it,
we were.
Yeah.
Yes, we were. But it's
I mean, it's no laughing matter, but it was a joke because what they did was so transparent. But it's not, they will get the protection. They will get the police resources will be diverted to those
they will have to. They will have to, because like you have said, it's once they are within Australia, it becomes Australia's responsibility to make sure these two are safe. So what here the Sussexes would have actually done, in these such difficult economic times, is to actually hold back this trip and behave sensibly and say this is the wrong time to come. We realize everyone is overstretched and we don't want to add that burden onto you to protect us.
And Francis, I heard that they're really not getting paid. Like, it's not an astronomical, I mean, this is allegedly, but they're not getting paid an astronomical fee to go there.
They're not paid. That's what Australians are on about. They're saying, why should we then fund their security, even if it's not all of it, but partly funding it is still a huge sum of money that the Australians will be, taxpayers will be forking out on a tour which looks like meaningless to the country. What are they there for, apart from them charging whatever amounts of money they've charged? I mean, Harry will be paid for speaking.
I heard allegedly it's only $50,000. That's allegedly I heard. I don't know obviously I don't know.
The $50,000, that's how much they're getting paid.
That's what I heard.
Is it? Is that for Harry's speech, or
that's that's for Harry?
Harry to speak at this event.
Again, that organisation that he's speaking for, that's Lifeline. It's one of our biggest charities here in Australia.
Oh,
That's
is
a
it?
charity. That's a charity that he is, that's paying him. Why, a
Why?
royal,
Exactly.
if William was on the agenda, do you think he'd be putting cash in his pocket from speaking to a charity? Like,
You've
it's just one
raised,
of, it's a huge Lifeline in Australia is it's a huge brand. It's not
yes.
just a little, it's like the Save the Children Fund. That's how big it is here in Australia. It's huge. They're involved in it's one of the biggest secondhand shop outlets in
What
Australia.
kind of charity is it, though, Catherine? What kind of charity?
They run a helpline for people who are suicidal.
Okay.
Mental
Okay.
health
They
and
run
yeah.
Mental
mental
health.
health. Yeah,
Okay.
they work with the homeless. They go up and down. We've got some workers here on the northern beaches, and they go up and down the beaches looking, scouting out homeless people to see how they
Okay.
can help. They run food vans. They're a big like Salvation Army. This is not a small charity. So why
Yeah.
is Harry getting paid by Lifeline? Lifeline is paying
Absolutely.
him.
This is charity money. It's money to
Yeah,
help people
yeah,
who really genuinely need it. People to help their mental well-being.
yeah,
You raise a very, very good point here because he's going in as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. I'm pretty sure that's how they will be introduced. When he steps on that stage to speak. So if he's being introduced as a royal, then he should be there on a ticket of a royal, and they don't get paid to speak at engagements like that. But he's
Mm-hmm.
going to be paid 50,000 is it US
yeah,
dollars.
It's U.S.
I,
dollars. That's what
yeah,
allegedly.
yeah,
Yeah.
allegedly, yeah. Becky here says, yeah, it's quite a drop from the 1 mil US dollar. Of
yeah,
course,
yeah.
Becky, you're right. It's going to be a drop because obviously we know that uh, these two have since lost value in many ways. So, but whatever small is there, they will go and get it, won't they?
Of
And
course
this
they
is
will.
also, yeah, and this is also partly because, as you know, the Sussex brand now is losing many deals allegedly. Meghan's businesses are not, making sums of money like they make it to be. The Netflix deals are not working anymore, so they're always going to vent for whatever small they can get their hands on out there to keep the brand surviving. But this, they shouldn't be paid for this for
No,
as long as
no.
they're
No, not
going
at
in there.
all.
You
And
can
you're
just
not hearing that from the international press. That's what amazes me, because you know how they put out a brochure and they've got all the faces on there and the time they're speaking, blah blah blah. It's got a big Lifeline logo up in the top. It really took me by surprise, because I'm thinking, well, why are you getting paid? You don't get paid to speak to Lifeline. I've
Yeah.
Mhm.
done, I've actually done one of their courses. Oops, my light diffuser is dropping. Sorry.
Mm.
I've actually completed one of their courses as a phone counselor, right? But I didn't do it to work the phones. I did it because they're one of the best, right?
Mhm.
But why is he getting paid? But like, to me, it is so embarrassing. They are embarrassing themselves. Can you
Yeah,
imagine? I reckon I'm not going to speak for William and Catherine, but I would imagine not only would William do it gratis, after they left, they would quietly leave a donation.
they would. Exactly. That's where I was coming because
Well,
I
that's
think
not coming, I'm
they,
sure.
they've missed a big opportunity here to sell themselves positively, Meghan and Harry, because what they would have done is to say, we're going to come, we're going to give a talk, everything is free of charge, and this is coming off there is the Archewell, whatever organization of theirs it is, as a thank you or give back to community. this service is for free. But they've missed that step. They are getting paid to show up. And Harry's going to be talking about mental health. Very many people allegedly believing that he has no clue
Yeah, but Francis didn't.
on what mental health is.
Yeah, but
Because
Francis didn't, like, allegedly, I have to say, Megan say, why aren't we getting paid when they were in
yeah,
Australia the first time?
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
She was overheard to have said that. That hasn't
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
disputed either. That still stands. Sorry, keep going, Francis.
I'm looking at comments here. Becky Lee says Harry won't leave a donation. Well,
No.
That's not going to happen.
Frankly, I don't think he can.
That's what he
Thank you
should
for
be
saying
doing.
that, Becky. Yeah.
This is an
Hi,
Australian.
Foxy.
All they're
Yeah.
doing is they're coming to Australia to just look and glean and skim from where they can. It is so gross.
Yeah,
They have their cachet has dropped into the gutter, you know. And when I came out for Charles and Camilla in 2024, the crowds were immense, you know, and the Opera House is. It's a lot of tourists when they come to Australia, they're surprised that the Opera House is smaller than they think because it's an iconic location. But it's not like a New York iconic location. It's iconic because of the architecture, because of its location. It sort of juts out into the harbour. And so that was jam packed. They had to close off the Opera House because they'd reached capacity. They had to divert the crowds up into the botanical gardens and around to the other side where the naval fleet was. And then we had some cruise liners in the harbour. There were hundreds of people on the cruise liners watching. And when the crowds were piling in, they were all winding up. If you know Sydney, you'll know what I mean. They were winding up into the rocks, waiting to gain access. That's how well received Charles and Camilla were. Now, I spoke to a lot of people, and what surprised me was the age range of the people that were there. There were so many young people, took the day off school, mind you, or took their day off their apprenticeship. They're not at work. They're all here with their flags, cheering on the Royals. But most of those people came out for Harry and Meghan, right? And most of the people I spoke to, it ranged from disappointment to absolute rage. The anger was more the older people because of the way they mocked the Queen. Meghan mock curtsied the Queen. That was the biggest thing amongst the older generation. They were furious about that. But the younger ones, they were just they were almost a bit heartbroken. They were just seriously disappointed. Do they think those same people are going to come out for them this time around? No, they're not going to bother.
No.
Tables have now changed drastically because, everything you've mentioned there, the mocking of the Queen in the way that Meghan Markle did, but the people are reading these stories every day. People are reading into Prince Harry and how he's now being taken to court for mismanaging, he's a charity he co-founded back in 2006, Sentebale. They are reading all these nasty things going on, and they are watching how these two have time and time again have been constantly called out for not supporting, the royal family, the Queen in her very, very difficult days and how they behaved. These Oprah Winfrey interviews, all of those things are like they happened yesterday. That's how people are looking at men. So when you look at Harry and Meghan's ratings in the media, they are on that downward slope. So these very different times to how they visited Australia back in 2018. And so you will be not surprised not to see crowds standing up.
No,
On
I
the
think they're going
streets.
to. I think it's going to be a huge embarrassment. I really,
Yeah,
really do. I think
yeah,
they get the biggest group of people that will be there will be the Sussex squad.
yeah,
The
yeah,
public, there may be, it'll be the media and it's all selected media.
yeah, yeah,
Whereas where I was standing, remember that iconic photo, and it is iconic, of Harry and
yes,
Meghan coming down the steps of the Opera House. I
yes, yeah.
managed, that is right at the spot where the crowds begin, pardon me, at
I
the
think
bottom of the
I
steps.
I think it's in the thumbnail, of course, of
Yeah.
this video as well.
Well,
Yes.
I was standing there. I was one of the first standing there. There was me and two friends I made, young people I made friends with on the day. And if
Mm,
you want to get the best spots, hang out with the young people, girls.
Mm.
So anyway, I was there, okay, and they were all going crazy for Charles. Do they think
mm.
that's going to happen again? No way.
No chance. No
No
chance.
chance,
Mm.
Francis.
No.
When they were there for Harry and Meghan, they're going crazy. They think it's going
Yeah.
to happen again. They think these two live in an absolute world of their own making. It's just
Delusional.
really, they're
And
Delusion.
really
yeah.
wild.
And it doesn't help that they are not reading the room. It feels like they're not seeing what is being written on social media.
They say it.
Because
They see
these
it.
things are a reflection. They look at how Meghan Markle has been written about recently about her private retreat. She's charging how much? Is 1,400?
Money.
Yes, a lot of money
It's a
for
lot of
one
money.
person just to
It's
go and
about
sit
three
there
and a
and see
half.
Meghan.
It's about three and a
Absolutely.
half thousand Australian
That's
dollars.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Many
a lot.
people have criticized that move. And of course, she's going to be giving that talk as the Duchess of Sussex. Would she be charging that money if it was Catherine, Princess of Wales? No. Okay.
no,
So
no,
as long as she's carrying that title, the Duchess of Sussex, she shouldn't be charging that money at all. This is
yeah.
not a private trip, in my opinion.
I agree with you, Francis. It's not.
They've announced this as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex going to Australia. So that, in many respects, has so many ways we can look at it as a royal tour of some sort. So they shouldn't be charging money.
Yeah, but Francis, I've read things, I have to say, allegedly, that she demands she comes into a room, she wants to be called the Duchess of Sussex. So,
Absolutely, mom, son, all of these way of introductions that would be made for, the king, the queen.
They dislike the family so much, but they demand you say the title.
Yeah.
So
They're using the
so
title.
ridiculous.
So it's very wrong, extremely wrong. So tell me how Australians, a country that is under the Commonwealth, that very much knows what a royal is entitled to and what they are not, will be looking at these two when they go down under. So, Catherine, you will, I know because you're on ground there, but I don't even think you have the energies to run around and go to the cities they will be visiting like you did with Queen Camilla and King.
No, I've actually thought about it. I did think about going to Coogee. Coogee is over near Bondi. It's a neighbouring beach to Bondi, but Bondi is the jewel in the crown. And I did think about it, but I think it would just put me in a really bad mood.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I mean? I just, because I'm saving, I do, if Catherine and William do come, I actually will come out for that. I was thinking about that this morning. I actually will come out for that. And I'll be a lot more prepared than I was for the last royal visit. The thing is, fancy having a tour, but limiting it to the media of your choice. What I was going to point to earlier is where I was standing. I was standing near the steps, which is where they come down, and Charles and Camilla did the same thing. So they're coming down. But as they're coming down, at the bottom of the steps, over the beyond the platform, there is a huge, absolute bank of cameras and media and press. It is like nothing. It's like a celebrity event. It's like a celebrity concert. It's huge. Dozens and dozens of, almost a bit like Diana. I wouldn't compare it to Diana because there was nothing compared to that, but it was notable. And that was where all the media was. They're saying, oh, we're just, we're filtering our media. We're just going to have the media that we approve, Well, I mean, how ridiculous. You're not going to get that kind of bank of cameras and media if you're going to be that selective, because no one's going to turn up. No one's going to bother trying to get past to your stupid event.
It's because they're worried of what the media will write about them, and of course it's not gonna be good at all. We know that, but for heaven's sake, allow people to come. If you're genuinely going to Australia to do work for the community, why would you not want to showcase what you're going to be doing there? Why would you limit others?
Right.
Yeah, I've read that there is a journalist who bought a ticket to go and attend one of Meghan Markle's sessions, private retreats, and that somehow she challenged them to send her tickets for, is it tax invoice or something like that, just in case they cancel these events. She knows where she can go to get a refund.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Absolutely, yes. And then so they found out somehow that, oh, this is a journalist. This is her work and all of that. And they say to her, sorry, you can't come to this retreat. And they refunded her money. And they said, because you're a journalist. So that's really bad, very, very bad. Because if you're going to be empowering women on the day, that would be discrimination.
They don't see it that way. They just want to control everything. They don't see it that way.
So they want controlled narratives. They want to have a few of those who are going to write all this bling about them, and to make them feel they are great. They've done a great job in Australia. But this is not helping their brand at all. It's not.
It's a sinking ship to me.
And obviously we know how. And we know how they don't
the Titanic.
They don't have an established PR team that is working for them, because people have left. They hire head of public relations, and people they hire leave within days because the Sussexes don't want to take advice from these people. Why do you hire people when you don't want to get advice?
Because they want yes people. That's why.
Yeah.
They want yes people.
So because of that, everything of theirs has turned out to be disaster. Because it's masterminded by them. Be it cameras, be it their Netflix things. They like to establish themselves as executive directors. Where did they go to learn that job of being an executive director? So, and then you wonder why all of their projects are in shambles. They collapse before they even begin.
Well, like, I see it as like when they were still in England, she probably sold him a bag of goods saying that, if we go to America, we're going to make all this money. Everyone's going to love us. People don't care about your family, doesn't care about you. California, everything will be great. We'll be billionaires. And you have to have talent. Like people in Hollywood, the good actors, I will say, they work very hard for what they have in that sense. Like they have to work to get that money. They had very easy contracts with Netflix, Spotify. The money was just thrown, but they don't have any, in my opinion, they don't have any substance to back up that money. So
This
they're not going
year,
to get deals like that anymore.
no. They've had the chance to, to work with, like you've mentioned, Spotify, massive
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah.
But Meghan Markle failed there. Why? Because she wanted to go there and become the boss. The team she was given to work around, to
I
work
don't think it's
with,
just that, Francis. She didn't
she
want to
looked
put the
under
work
them
in.
because
They don't want
she's
to put the
the
work in.
Duchess. Probably she wanted everybody to kneel down
Yeah.
for her.
And
You know.
podcasting is a lot of work, as you know.
Yeah.
Like someone, let's say like a Joe Rogan, they put a
Yeah.
lot of time into
Yeah.
researching the guests, researching
Yeah.
the topics to
Yeah.
make it
To make it,
podcast.
to make
But,
them more researched more, but there is
you
nothing
just
of that.
can't,
No.
you can't just show up, especially with the kind of money they were getting, and
Yeah.
just
And you
say
think
nonsense and expect, respect or the payment they were getting. So that's why it fell
absolutely.
through.
Yeah, it
My
couldn't.
opinion, allegedly,
So we've got some interesting comments
I
here.
say allegedly, so she can't sue me.
Yeah. Thank you guys for the comments.
You'll sick
This,
Oscar onto her.
TCC says the continued reference to the late HR Diana is disgusting to me. It is, absolutely.
It is.
Everything Princess Diana. Well, Prince William is here doing great work.
He is.
Catherine, Princess of Wales, in my eyes, these are people who we look at. We see Princess Diana through their lens.
Yeah.
And not Meghan and Harry. But look at how the Sussexes are fronting Diana left, right, center, going to her grave, and all of those things.
Attention-seeking behavior.
That's all they can do, yes, to use those legacies for their own benefits. Okay. But this is really, really bad. And as the comments mentioned here, I think there is one here who says, Becky says, Harry and Meghan, do they even have a team left? we know they don't, because the other day they hired someone in charge of their PR, left. They had an executive director for Archwell, left. Look at what's going on in Sentebale with all the chairperson, this lady Sophie Chanduko. Last time she came out and said that H&M are not respecting their views. They are bullying them, looking down on them. It's very unprofessional. So you can
can't
see that
but
you
you
can't
can't-
expect to hire professionals when you are not going to be a professional yourself in how
But you
treat
can't
people.
expect people to work hard for you when you don't treat them with respect. And then allegedly, that's like you were just saying, they don't treat their staff well, allegedly. So
I know.
how are they going to work hard?
Well, I think that's the biggest problem behind the lawsuit with Dr. Shandoka, because they treated that charity like the extension of their own PR team, and she wasn't going to have it. And we saw the way Meghan, she had a friend with her on that occasion, and her and a friend were going about, drinking champagne, whatever they do, strutting their stuff. And Sophie Shandoka, in her position, she moved to have that photo with Harry, and Meghan moved her out of the way. I mean, it was so classless. It was
Very
just ghastly.
disrespectful.
Disrespectful. And I think this is why I think that this lawsuit could possibly go all the way, because I believe she wants the stature of that charity restored. She wants the dignity and the stature of the Sentebale restored, intact. And I think that's fair call. I think it's fair call.
It is, and as much as Harry is a co-founder for it, and his other colleague, because they've taken both of them to court, and this time round the case has been taken to High Court. So this is the highest court in the land. And so that is definitely going to sort of pinch a torch in these two and the operations of this organization to really see where problems are coming from. So the Charity Commission, which is more like an organization monitoring charities here, last year said that they saw no evidence to suggest all of these things that Sophie said were happening. And many think that obviously with Harry still the chair, no, not the chair, the co-founder, he's somehow influenced, these decisions from the Charity Commission. So they've now taken it further on to High Court. And I'm very sure they will look through it and something will come out of it. I know that they are more transparent than the Charity Commission is. So that will help. But to bring us back to that point you made earlier, that who is going to be working for this? Everybody has left. They don't trust them anymore. They are not respecting people. H&M don't respect those they work with. They like to see themselves as they. And especially for as long as Meghan Markle is going to be involved in these operations, don't expect anything good to come out of them. Okay? Because just look at within a space of how many weeks, months, she's hired how many people at Hatchwell and they all leave. She leaves Spotify, she gets another deal with Lemonada. Lemonada, very, very good organization as well. Everybody thought, okay, let's see really if it was Spotify that failed to deal with Meghan properly or it's Lemonada. What happened with Lemonada? Things went down the drain. So these are all signs that these are very difficult people to work with. But my worry here is how they are going to be inspiring people at these retreats. What are they going to be talking about that they have achieved when we haven't seen them achieve anything? And why are people spending all of this money to go and inspired by someone, in my opinion, who hasn't even achieved, who hasn't got anything good that everybody can look at and say, yes, they've achieved this? Because most of their projects, these are projects that are not original. Now, the retreat, whatever Meghan Markle is going to be giving, these and her cooking show, all of these things, we've got people who did them before, and you can see that Meghan's concept is very much stolen in many ways from these shows. Pamela Anderson did these things many, many years ago, and she was hugely successful. Now, Pamela is coming to Australia round about the same time that Meghan Markle is going to be there. Watch and see the crowds that are going to turn up at her. This will be the telltale sign that people no longer buy into.
I've seen Pamela Anderson's show on Hulu. It's actually good. Like, she talks about like her house, cooking, her life. I've seen her documentary too. It's interesting. So people will go see her, Pamela Anderson.
Oh, they will, because she's authentic. The thing with Australians is they see straight through people and they call a spade,
yes, Aussies are very tough that way.
They are straight shooters, and
yes, they are.
They don't put up with BS. So with Pamela Anderson, her minimalist approach to her beauty and her aging, and I was talking about her yesterday with my son, and I said, I just really appreciate the way she's approaching aging with a naturalist approach, and Australians will just embrace that. They love that.
Yeah.
They love it. And especially a former beach babe, because she was so popular when she
was.
in her
prime,
running around in her red swimsuit, and she
Baywatch,
was
yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah,
You
she's
mean
very
when she was
beautiful.
in Baywatch? In
Baywatch.
Yeah,
Baywatch? Oh,
that's it.
yes.
Baywatch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
Baywatch.
a big
she was the
star.
babe watch. She
Massive
was
Yes.
the babe
global
watch.
Yeah,
TV
she was
star.
very popular.
Very
Yeah,
popular. Look,
her,
look at her
she
now
will draw the
living.
crowds. She will
Mhm.
She will
draw.
draw,
Yeah.
yeah. And people can relate with her more than they can with Meghan Markle. And look at the simple life she now lives.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In a small house.
Mhm.
Where does she live, Pamela?
Canada. She lives in
In
Canada.
Canada, yes, in a small house, not this 1 million mansion, property like
Hmm.
Meghan Markle
That's
likes to get.
ridiculous.
Absolutely, yeah. But that is someone I would like to pay and go and listen to. Someone
Hmm.
like Pamela Anderson, because she has a real story to tell.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
she's a woman who has grafted and achieved her success with no titles attached to them, not marrying in a royal family. No, everything to Pamela hasn't come to her on a silver plate like we see
No,
things.
she's worked hard.
Yeah, she's worked
Yeah, she
hard.
has worked for her fame. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Which
yeah.
comes back to what you were saying about actors and, well, there's a difference between celebrities and actors, but actors, they work hard, they work grueling hours.
They do.
And what doesn't matter what kind of show it is, they work frigging hard. So I would have come out to see her, but I'm not someone who follows the circuit like that.
Mm,
I think she's absolutely gorgeous. Mwah,
yeah,
she's so beautiful.
she's
But
Yes.
looked
people
after
people are
herself
going to
so
be
much.
ignoring Megan. Someone said in the
Comments.
comments, how come she was in that Australian designer wearing this green, and everyone's supposed to be in black and white, right? And she turns up in a green
Oh
because
God.
she did the same. Was it at Louis' christening? She turned up in khaki
Yes.
green.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
just she's just obscene, you don't behave like that.
Some incredible comments here. I can't
Yeah, they're
read the
funny.
phone, but
They are
lovely
funny.
comments here. Yeah. Michaela says that that stand shouldn't any future invitations in California. And then there is a comment here. Meg should have acquired a booker while in Middle East because it suits her figure.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so lovely comments in here. Lisa, I'm
That's terrible.
interested in Sophie's lawsuit. Yeah, everyone is
Hmm.
really following up on that
That is
lawsuit.
interesting. It's
Yeah,
going to be
very, very
interesting.
closely. Because Lisa there put it out quite rightly and said that, Harry and his close associates went on this behind the scenes on this massive negative publicity against the charity. How can you even do that to a charity you said you co-founded in the name of your
It's
mother?
called having a big ego. It's
Can
having a
you
big
imagine?
ego.
Yeah. The legacy, this charity is the legacy of Princess Diana, because that's what the initial intention of setting
Right.
it was. But how can you then go behind the scenes and decampaign it? So this has led to people pulling out of the charity. Funds are not coming in as they used to come. And so Sophie said, no, I'm fighting for this charity because I think it's doing really, really good. We are not going to sit here and see the charity losing donors because of Harry and Meghan. So it is going to be very interesting where it will end. Sophie is a very professional woman, very learned, as you heard her speak on that interview recently. And I think they made a perfect match here because not so many people in the past have stood up against, Harry in the way she has done, quite frankly, in front of cameras. Okay, so, but we are keeping our eyes very, very
I
open to see
think
where
I
that will
think
end.
Mark Dyer is I'm interested in what Discovery reveals about the communications, because my feeling is Mark Dyer, if there's any communications between him and the palace, because he was a former equerry to King Charles, and according to reports, he's viewed as like a surrogate father in Harry's life, and they doubled down. So for someone who was once a palace employee associated to the king, I think this leaves them at risk. And I also question if that's why some people like Lady C are saying it won't go to court, they'll settle out of court because of what will come out of discovery. I think Mark Dyer is the weak link in all this. That's my, because Harry, as you know, people say he's not very bright and all the rest of it, leaned very heavily on Mark Dyer. But I believe that Mark Dyer was also placed there to look after Harry by the palace. So that's what I'm looking for discovery when that becomes available. That Mark Dyer, this is my guess. I don't know, but my prognostication is he's the weak link, and if it does go to court, watch out. That's yeah. I do believe the person, obviously, or the organisation that's funding this has deep pockets.
Bless you.
And
Thank you.
that's going to be the problem for Team Harry, is the deep pockets of the one who's funding it. They're going to go all the way with this.
They will go.
Looks like it.
And whatever the outcome, people have known the truth. People have seen this is Harry being exposed, because
yes,
this doesn't help their brand going forward. Okay,
no, it doesn't.
It only affirms what people read and already know about the toxicity in that brand. People leaving, within days of acquiring jobs within Actual, the executive directors. At one point, Meghan Markle couldn't even find anybody to fill that post, so she had to become an executive director herself.
Okay.
Okay. So it's really sad for a brand that really left working for the royal family and promised to go and set out there and become big and become more independent, doing all of these things that are not going to allow it to become that much successful brand they want it to be.
But who in their right mind tries to damage their mother's legacy the way Harry is? That tells you how this is driven by Meghan. Meghan is the one that's driving this. She's pushing Harry. But for him to not understand what this is doing to his mother's legacy is very telling. It's just like the guy's got no
insight.
idea of, that's the word. That's the word
because
I was
he
looking
said,
for.
"Oh, Meghan is just like my mother in every way."
Oh God! Oh,
That's what he said in the Netflix documentary. That's what he said.
Absolutely. They gave up the opportunity to make an impact on a world stage when they were still in the royal family. Okay. They were put in charge of the Commonwealth, those two, Harry and Meghan, at one point.
Yeah.
This was a massive opportunity, because how many people live in the Commonwealth? This was a massive
billions.
Yeah. But they squandered that opportunity. And for me, really, that was the only chance they had. That was the only opportunity Meghan had to shine.
Right, but she said allegedly that I'm not getting paid, so
that's I call that being
allegedly.
greedy. I call that. I mean, these writings have been on the wall everywhere that she whispered in Harry's ears, and are we getting paid for being here in Australia? And I think Harry goes, no, we are not. This is all part of the royal family service. Meghan, I'm thinking how well, where are we going to be benefiting? You know,
Exactly.
we have the potential to go out and make lots and lots of money out of the same thing we are doing. Okay. But has it made them the money they wanted? No. And I think behind the scenes, those two are still very much earning from from the royal family in some ways. I think they
I
still
agree
get
with
paid
you.
somehow, yeah.
I,
Because
you know,
they
I,
wouldn't be sat on the royal
Yeah,
family website.
I
They
agree with you,
wouldn't, yeah,
Francis.
yeah,
if
Yeah,
King Charles
I'm
gives the
all
money
in
on the
on
side.
that. Yeah, I'm all in on that idea, Francis. That's why I think Mark Dyer is the one to watch. He's the weak link, because if there's any communications between him and the palace, boom, like that goes all the way up to the king. This is not the Prince of Wales. This is the
yeah,
king, you
yeah.
know, and I do believe that the palace is at risk here, and but we'll see. But I do believe you're right about funds going Harry's way.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, why would they even be sitting on the royal family website?
Yep.
You know, why would they? You know, because there's somewhere it says, you know, Harry, Duke and Duchess of Sussex, they representing whatever the royal family abroad. You know, so definitely behind the scenes, somehow there should be something given to them for what they are doing for the royal family. And I don't agree with them sitting on there, because they are not serving communities, you know, here. If they are not allowed to use those royal titles where they are, in my opinion, they are not serving the royal family. They should be taken off. Okay. And there is a link to their website,
Yep.
which is on the royal family website, official royal family website. That shouldn't be there as well, because
Well, King Charles
because
won't remove it. He won't.
uh,
No, you're
He
right.
won't.
You're right,
He won't.
SB.
yeah. So
He
let's
won't.
wait and see when these reigns change to see who will actually be looking into that first time. I think William will want to start from there, royal
That,
family.
that
Look, I wouldn't be
that's what I think
surprised if
too.
it's
That's
removed
easy. That one.
immediately
Yeah.
Yeah,
when he's
yeah,
king.
That's easier than the titles. You
yeah.
know, do that and
D-
people will be satisfied.
Absolutely. Start from there, because
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
happens behind the scenes then it will happen smoothly without people referencing, you know, them on the royal family website.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, the other thing I want them to revisit is this Council of State thing. Because the Council of State, these would be people who would step in case there was a major emergency or king is not able to do his job, and so someone steps in. So, as far as I know, Harry is still a Council of State.
Mm.
But he doesn't live within the UK here, you know. He doesn't have an established residence that he lives. And therefore, you know, for me, that would automatically cancel him as Council of State. So I think these are the different things William would like to look at when
Mm.
he steps in. I know.
Francis,
Hmm?
I know in Sweden, the royal family in Sweden, in order to be in the line of succession, you have to be educated and live in Sweden.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
they should adopt that. You want to be in the loyal line of
Yeah,
succession, you have to
yeah.
live here and be educated here.
I think there are lots of things that are out of touch with the royal family website, and so they will need changing. And I think some of the changes we hear, you know, allegedly that William will want to make happen, I'm thinking those are the very things. Okay? So
Yeah.
he can't do anything about it now because it's not his reign, in my opinion. He doesn't want to
Mm.
first step the mark, you know. So, and we know that his father, I think, is got to an age, the king has got to that age where he doesn't want to cause any more controversies, and you know,
And
any
he's very ill.
trouble.
He's ill too, so
Yeah, he's ill, and he knows what this man is capable of. You know what Harry is capable of doing. You know, um, because he's very predictable. They could turn around and give another interview, and what could they not say that So the king, I think, is being very careful on, with what he's doing with regards to those two. He's costing it, and maybe we want that responsibility to fall on William. But I don't think that's a good idea, because it's gonna give William a very, very difficult reign. Very difficult reign. Okay. Whatever needs to be sorted now needs to happen during this reign. If William is to have a quite stable and chaotic free reign. Okay. So
I think William is going to be seen as, in certain circles, the bad guy no matter what. So unfortunately, when his time comes,
he's strong in taking decisions. We know that. He's not afraid
yes, he is,
to
but
take difficult decisions.
certain people in the media and the Sussex squad will call him the bad guy. You know how that'll go, unfortunately.
But he's got we understand him. Everybody who really loves the royal family and its legacy really lines up behind William.
Of course they do. Of course they
And
will.
William has got this Catherine, Princess of Wales, besides him. And for as long as those two are together, be sure to get that well thought decision from William. Because Catherine, these two together are a powerhouse.
They are.
A powerhouse.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, Catherine is William's halo. She really is. When they come out, they look steady. They look ready for service. They everything they do has purpose. It's not just nervous energy. They're so poised, and the children, like you said earlier at the top of the show, that they're so poised, and
those two together,
ready
as
to
king
meet the
and queen,
public.
they are gonna be fireworks in all the great ways. They all have their strong bases. They are all ranking very high in terms of popularity. People relate very much with them. They're very thoughtful in the way they approach situations. So we are going to have a reign that is very stable and very well loved. We can't wait. We really can't wait. And we know that on the 29th of April, they will be 15 years wedding anniversary. Okay. So they've come a long way, very strong. Okay, they've navigated so many problems, including health issues, and they've been supporting themselves, throughout every difficulty they've faced. So we are having a king and queen who are going to arrive at that throne at the peak of their life. And I tell you what, very many people around the world, even in the smallest of countries, are already preparing to book those flights to come
I'll be one of them
for the coronation.
I'm one of those people.
Yeah. We are gonna be throwing parties on the streets.
Yeah,
we're gonna be dancing.
I don't care what time of the year it is. When that time comes, I will do anything possible to be there. So I'll be one of those people.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we prepare for the reign, for their 15th wedding anniversary, we are very proud to have those two, as the future king.
You should be, yeah.
They've raised such incredible and well respectful children who don't have any shenanigans around them. What you see with that family is what you get.
And I think the Middleton family has helped with it too.
Absolutely. And William relates with the family very much, because they go there every often. To Catherine's family, mom and dad, and the kids go there. They have fun over Christmas, because they don't live so far away from Sandringham. So over Christmas, Catherine goes with the kids as well behind the scenes, and they have this different kind of special Christmas, very cozy. That's how special these families are. Okay. very, very, I would say the opposite of what someone has mentioned it here, of what we see with Harry and Meghan. Keeping kids away from their heritage down here. Okay?
It's sad.
I'm telling you, those
Keeping their
kids are
head
going to have
they're
a
doing
very
that.
difficult time growing up because they've cut them off completely from a family, from a heritage, which is going to be very important for them in those key years to come. When they
Those
are parents.
Look, I'm American, obviously, but those kids are Americans now. They don't have any connection to their British culture and the family. It's really sad.
It's very sad.
They're American now, the kids.
Yeah.
Extremely sad. And you saw that video that they put out recently of, Archie going out as Kissel, and them going to do the Easter egg
Yeah,
hunt.
I saw it.
Things. People are not connecting, they are not relating with these messages because they've since stopped believing in anything these two put out there. And that's a big problem in their brand. Once people switch off from a brand, whatever you do, you will never connect with your fans.
It's
Okay.
sad.
So they've done it to themselves. They've made their bed. We always say this, Catherine, don't we, on this channel? They are going to lie in it forever.
You make your bed, you lie in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's already starting to happen, isn't it? Because I mean, think about that. Over like 40,000, nearly 45,000 signatures saying, oh, like, if you want to come, we don't care, but you're not using our our state paid police service as your private security. I mean, think about that. This is a petition to stop, rogue royals.
That's a lot of people. 45,000's a lot.
It is a lot.
It's a
Like
lot.
it's actually unheard of. I'm a bit surprised that the trip hasn't been cancelled, but it's typical Meghan. She just bulldozes her way through whatever. But I feel for William because I just couldn't even be bothered listening to this. I saw a tweet from GB News. Charlotte Griffith was talking about William's coronation, and someone underneath, I thought, made a very good point. She said, oh, just enough already. The king could live another few years,
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
talking. But her point was, and Charlotte Griffith is the one that, caught up with Mr. Mischief, and she's saying that William should invite Harry to the coronation. Well, Harry went to the King's coronation, but he didn't even hang around, and I just feel that people misread William. I feel, I'm not saying that he's perfect. I'm not saying, he hasn't made mistakes. He hasn't earned his constitutional voice yet. That's the problem. He's speaking through his social media channels and his back channels, allowing others to come out and speak for him. His constitutional voice is not fully formed yet. But, the Sussexes have got no cachet anymore. And you've got people like Charlotte Griffiths on TV looking all smug as, the smug as, like she's just swallowed a canary and the feathers are still hanging out of her mouth, going on and on about William's coronation. I don't want to see them come to the throne too soon because they're still organising themselves,
Yeah.
They've still got a young family. I'd like to see them. I'm not saying this because I'm enjoying Charles's reign, but I just would like to see them, get more time their children, and more time to really get their, as the cliche goes, their ducks in a row, constitutionally speaking.
Absolutely.
I think also because, like, let's say he would come king tomorrow, it takes him a lot of time away from the kids.
Yeah.
When you're a king, even her being queen consort, they have to spend a lot more time away from their kids, and they're still pretty young.
Yeah, Yeah, they're
So,
very young, the kids, so they would like to raise their children, and get through those very kids.
Yeah.
These kids are still very much hands-on. They're still doing homework for Louis, for Charlotte, for George. They're still running around looking for schools to take their kids. Right now, I think if next summer they are looking for a school, to take the kids. So the parental responsibilities, are still there, and they are right at the heart of those responsibilities. We are talking about two parents who are in their very early 40s, very, very early 40s.
Yeah.
So, but let King Charles enjoy his reign for now.
Yeah. I mean, it's too soon to be talking about William's coronation. Look,
No.
the coronation planning is in play. That's the
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
like the Queen, when she passed, her funeral had been, being organised for decades. And it's the same with coronations. They're being organised for decades. We know that. But it's too soon to be talking about who's on the invitation list. I thought it was just disgraceful. I thought, and she
Yes.
was ridiculous, and she's smiling like, oh, you know about me and William now. Oh, look at me, get lost. I'm just so sick of the British press, I've got to tell you.
you're funny.
I just saw the image of it. It was enough for me. But I read all the comments and they're all saying the same. Just stop. They're going, just stop.
The other day, I was looking at an article which was already putting out crap out there. They are now planning, King Charles's funeral. They are now planning it, and I say, look at all this. King Charles is still very much alive. He's a very strong man. He's still got a good few more years in him.
I mean, whatever you think of Charles, that kind of conversation, like if you talked like that during Henry VIII's time, you would have been sent to the Tower.
I say to myself, Camilla wouldn't like to read this newspaper, this article here, because if there is anybody who wants to be queen for as long as she can, it's Camilla.
Yes. Yes.
Because if you talk about King Charles, funeral right now, Camilla it's more like you're saying Camilla is that's the end of you, Camilla, as well. Okay? People forget that we have a king. People forget we have a king and queen consort who both really want to hold on to that reign for as much as they can. It took Charles how many years to get into that reign? 73 years, and you expect him to just walk away like that. There is nobody who wanted to be king as King Charles wanted.
As much as Charles. That's right. That's why I believe a lot of these conversations about abdication, they're so you can't just abdicate anyway because of the Settlement Act of 1936. That was introduced after the abdication of Edward VIII, and he can't anyway. If he chose to abdicate, he has to consult all of the realms within the Commonwealth, all of his realms, which are 15 including the kingdom.
Absolutely.
And then in Australia alone, we've got a governor in every state. Every governor in every state has to be consulted.
Absolutely.
Then the federal governor general, she has to be consulted. What sort of a process is that?
Absolutely.
And everyone just talks. They talk about him abdicating like he's a CEO of a company. Imagine what a shadow that would be on William's reign.
And
it's just ridiculous.
And not to mention how bad it makes the royal family look. Abdication is a bad omen. I don't know if people understand what even an abdication is.
No.
It casts a bad shadow on the monarchy that King William would inherit this bad omen. It's not good at all.
No.
However problems they're having right now, whatever difficulties, they are better off resolving those. And a King Charles plodding through his reign and with any energies he needs to have to get through it successfully than abdicating. Okay. And
Yeah.
of course, like, we've mentioned here, if there's no King Charles anymore, they want to be a Queen Camilla. Camilla would have to step aside. And
Oh,
it's
she's
not,
hanging on for
because, yeah,
dear
as,
life. You can be sure
as,
of it.
Gosh.
okay, and William and Catherine will step in. So I don't think Camilla wants that. Wants to see a Catherine step in and then she goes back into, because these two with Catherine, Camilla and King Charles, they want their power. They really want it, and they fought hard for it. They had to wait for that man. Charles was hanging around Queen Elizabeth everywhere Queen was going. He was the Prince of Wales, the longest serving Prince of Wales in the world.
Well, the queen became queen so young, so
Yeah, so he can't be the shortest serving monarch. No chance.
And I cared for my husband. He was diagnosed too late with liver cancer. But the thing is with Charles, he's an elderly man now. And the elderly can live like a long time with cancer. They can
Yeah,
live a long time with cancer. So I feel, this abdication, calls for abdication, they lack understanding. They have no constitutional grasp of what that means, and he's not a CEO of a company. He's a king
yeah,
of a monarch, and he's the
yeah,
head of the Commonwealth. So
yeah, yeah.
it's not going to happen. And
I
talking
know
about William's
it's not
coronation is
no chance.
premature.
Well, you see here, Becky says Charles could be around for another 5 to 10 years.
Yes,
Absolutely,
yes,
who really
yeah.
knows? The Queen Elizabeth, was here for how long? I'm quite sure behind the scenes she had her own health, fights behind the scenes. She went on and went on and went on until it was the time. So I still have this belief and strength that we have a king here who has got a good few more years to come. But for us, we are looking at that as an advantage for William and Catherine because they can grow properly in the role. Okay, they can raise their children without the pressures. Because when you become king and queen, what that means, they will be traveling around the world
Yes, yes.
3 times more than they are to do the meetings, to meet the heads of state, to do ABCD. They still have those kids in those very, very, early stages of growth that really need their mom and dad there. Okay. So everybody who really has well wishes for the royal family and for the
longevity, yeah.
yes, would really line up behind Charles, regardless of how he's getting certain things wrong, and hope that he learns from his mistakes, he puts things right in time before William and Catherine come in. He's still got time to do that. Yeah. So, but looking at the comments here, Becky says, "I don't think he will abdicate. King Charles III will never abdicate." I 100% agree with all of you. Okay, because there's nobody that wanted to be king more than King Charles has, and I know that he's had his missteps. He didn't give the speech last time. He did, it's the way he's dealt with Harry and Meghan and all of that. But every king, every person, politicians, whichever they are, have their own weaknesses. Okay. But I think for me, I focus more on King Charles's strength as a person, the things he's achieved. I mean, look at the Prince Trust, which is still here now, which is now the King's Trust. It has achieved so many great things for communities here in the UK than any other charity has. Okay, and I think that is King Charles's real legacy. Okay, so let us celebrate these achievements he has achieved and hope that, before he hands over power in whatever way he will, he gets time to really resolve these issues that are going, within the royal family. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Foxy says here that my late grandfather had what I believe was a year late diagnosis of
thrombocytopenia.
yeah, which was he sadly died of. It was like July, so I think he had it in 2017. Oh, sorry to hear. Foxy, by the way, thank you so much. There's another good one of us. I enjoy your videos. If you're not following Foxy, please subscribe to his channel. He's such a lovely young man, Foxy is. I actually learned Foxy from Aspe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
I found him through Aspie as well.
Yes, yeah. But thank you so much, dear friends in the comment, all of you. These are all our regulars, by the way. Every single one of them in the comments is our regular on the channel, commenting relentlessly on our videos, hyping them. We can't thank you any more than we have for staying with us here tonight. Thank you so very much. We have Catherine here, a Royal Australian on the channel with us. She has a channel as well, her YouTube channel. Please pop over and show her some kindness. She hasn't posted for a while, I think, because she's been so. Catherine, can you please have some words for our friends in the comments?
Yeah. Look, I actually like YouTube, but I became a bit with the Harry and Meghan thing because they dominate headlines. So I needed to take a break and focus on my Substack. And my Substack is the same handle, a Royal Australian. And because I do my thinking there, you know, but I have decided I'm going to produce. I've begun doing the research and setting out a podcast, and I'm going to do a couple of shorts from our live though, but I will do a couple of podcasts, videos, and that's how I'll go forward. And it'll be looking at the future of the monarchy under William and Catherine. That's one of them. And the other one is looking at some of the issues that we've been facing under King Charles, but also discussing the abdication issue. It really astonishes me who some of the people are that talk about that. Andrew Loney is one of the biggest champions of abdication. He's a respected historian. He should know better than that. It's not that easy to just say, "Oh, he should step down." You know, I think people get off. They get over their skis, and sometimes it's just clicks. I do believe that. So I actually want to look at what's going on with that issue. And so I worked in government. I was working in government when the Republican debate and the referendum was running hot. And I was a monarchist working for a senior minister who was a leading light of the Republican. And he asked me,
"Oh, really?
how are you going to, yeah. And he asked me, you know, how are you going to vote? I was out with him on a, you know, check handing out spree that morning. And I said, "Oh, look, I'm a 10-pound palmer. How do you think I'm going to vote?" He was so snippety with me, but he respected me. And so, you know, I think I'm just going to return to, I'm 71, you know, I'm going to return to some of that stuff, you know, some of the weighty issues around the monarchy, because I'm actually quite concerned about its future. That's, if I'm going to be honest. So, yeah, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I just feel that a recalibration is up ahead, you know, and I just think that we need to be realistic about it. So that's where I'm coming from to answer your question. It was, you know, my few words.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Catherine, there. And we've got Aspi, one of our very, very well loved, you know, fan here on the channel. She's become a fan of Francis Page Media, one of the very few, let me see, people here as well who is a member of the channel. Thank you so much for your membership.
You're welcome.
Yes, and for that, you know, unending support. But really, we have a family here at Francis Page Media that comes to our videos relentlessly, commenting, and they are the same sort of people again who are showing up in all of these lives. All of you here, not a single one of you on this live tonight hasn't turned up in my recent postings. So please keep this support coming. We truly appreciate. And we apologize we haven't been coming live recently because we've had a few things going on. Weather hasn't been very brilliant here, and I think Haspio had a very terrible weather recently as well.
Yeah.
But we would like to come on more regularly, in the next coming few days. Yeah. So before we round this up, I would like to talk briefly about Queen Elizabeth. The royal family is planning a series of events to celebrate her, what would have been 100 years. Legacy still lives. She's the reason the royal family is flying as high as it is today. So let's not forget her incredible achievement. Please, if you can follow up on the royal family's activities from the 20th of April, they will be putting up a new statue of the Queen in one of the parks in London. So that is going to be really lovely. And then King Charles and Queen Camilla will be hosting a party, a birthday party in memory of Queen Elizabeth at Buckingham Palace, I think, where they will be inviting all organizations that Queen Elizabeth was a patron for and charities to celebrate a life well lived by the here. So yeah, we'll be posting more about that on the community page. But I think for now, I would like to say I think we've talked enough, haven't we, dear friends?
We had a lot to catch up on. I've got to tell you,
it was a nice life.
I've missed seeing your faces, and I was starting to panic a little earlier because I couldn't connect. I thought, no, I need to get with my crowd, with my with my people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you, Francis. You're a marvelous host. You're
You're
a very
welcome.
generous host.
You're welcome, ladies, for always honoring these invitations. And I appreciate that we are in different time zones, but you putting aside this time. It's very early in the morning where you are, Catherine. I'm not a very early morning person, but you've done that for the sake of the channel. Thank you.
Yeah,
and as
I
am.
I can do it any time in the morning.
Yeah. And that's you're bang on in the middle of your peak hours. US. So again, you've put things aside to come and check in with our friends here on the channel. I truly appreciate your time, all of you. Thank you.
And Frankie says thank you, everyone.
Hi, Frankie. Frankie, be a good.
Is saying he wants to see Oscar next time.
Be a good
next time.
Frankie. I've got the big man here, Frankie. You'll be coming
the big man.
Soon. Yeah.
That's adorable.
Yeah, right, ladies. It's about time to go to bed here in the UK.
Sweet dreams.
All right, bye.
Yeah. Look, thank you. Oh, thank you so much, our friends in the comments. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Yeah, bye.